Every member of the Massachusetts delegation is considered likely to vote against the huge Republican tax cut bill that's making its way through Congress right now.
But did you know that same bill seems to include a large tax break for many local residents? Well, John Keller explores the unusual politics behind the so-called SALT deduction.
Are you ready to pay lower taxes?
8 years ago, when President Trump signed off on a nearly $2 trillion tax cut bill, one class of taxpayers took a big hit. Previously uncapped deductions of state and local taxes, or SALT, from your federal tax bill were suddenly capped at 10 grand a year. And Republicans from wealthy districts like this one from suburban New York have been waiting ever since for their chance to lift that cap.
We said very clearly that SALT had to be addressed.
But if the SALT deal hammered out today holds and raises the cap to $40,000 for those earning up to $500,000, the work of these blue state conservatives will be a windfall for some in the bluest state of all.
Adjusting the SALT cap is a good thing for Massachusetts.
From the head of the Mass Taxpayers Foundation,
I think it would be great for Massachusetts taxpayers.
To this local tax attorney, experts hailed the tentative deal as long-awaited relief from the 2017 tax bite.
It will benefit homeowners, especially people who live in wealthier towns with higher property taxes and higher income taxpayers.
Something that's going to provide, I think, some relief to folks in Massachusetts and also mitigate against some impacts of tax policies in Massachusetts, like some impacts of the surtax.
A reference to the so-called millionaires tax voters approved in 2022, the object of bitter complaints about a hostile tax climate from many of the same folks who now stand to pocket a fat tax cut if D.C. passes the SALT.
You know, that narrative still continues to some extent that the millionaires tax has been too much of a burden on certain Massachusetts residents. And so this will certainly give a lot of those people a break.
Okay, so John, at the same time, we're hearing dire warnings about the cuts of the so-called Big Beautiful Bill. How will that affect Massachusetts, right? There's going to be an effect there, too. So it's just kind of feeling like all the information we have is a mixed bag.
Yeah, very much so, Courtney. And so is the reaction to it. That's been very mixed. Senator Eldridge told me, for instance, that pro-tax lobbyists, anticipating these cuts, are already talking about pushing for new corporate tax hikes, perhaps through another ballot question next year. And you can see the ads now, Courtney, where they link the SALT windfall to the ability of those who've pocketed it to pay more. That's how politics works.
Oh boy, this is why we keep you busy, John Keller. You keep your finger on the pulse.
Never a dull moment, yeah.
Never. John, thank you. David?
John, Courtney, thank you.